Hello, welcome back to the lecture series. This is lecture 4 on types of research. When you think of types of research, probably as an undergraduate student who has finished epidemiology, what comes to your mind is descriptive, analytical, experimental studies. But that's not all to research. That is just one way of classifying research based on research designs. So in this section, we will see various types of research. So by the end of this lecture, each one of us should be able to list and explain with example various types of research. Recognize examples for each type. I am going to show you examples and you need to recognize those examples. So the first classification, observational versus experimental. Second one, primary research versus secondary research. The third classification, basic research, applied research. The fourth one, conceptual research, empirical research. Fifth one, planned research versus serendipity. The next one, opportunistic research, programmatic research, needs driven research. The last one, individual research and collaborative research. Some of these types I am making it clear so that we understand the whole nature of research and helps us in negotiating our research in appropriate ways. So the first one, we broadly classify research based on the role of investigator in conducting that research. If investigator simply wants to observe, like let's say you are observing a night sky, you are seeing the stars and the moon, you can hardly change anything about it, right? The clouds, you can't change anything. You don't have a reset button there. So that's observational research. There is another type of research where the researcher actively manipulates something, introduces an agent or removes an agent and sees the outcome. For example, you give an anti-plaque agent and then you measure the plaque levels before and after. So as a researcher, you have manipulated or you have introduced an intervention by which you expect something to change because you think that that might be an anti-plaque agent. So that's an experimental research where you are planning some change in the outcome and you are actively involved in that process. That's experimental research. So within observational research, investigator measures. It doesn't mean that he does not want to have a look at it. He observes, he measures. But he does not control any variables. Just remember this term variable. We will explain it in one of the videos later. Variable means anything that varies from person to person, a factor that we consider in our research. Okay, so in observational research, investigator measures variables but doesn't control. An example here. A study on prevalence of periodontal disease in type 2 diabetic patients. In this case, investigator obviously checks the diabetic patients for periodontal disease presence or absence, but he has not done anything to alter the presence or absence of periodontal disease. He just checks the prevalence. So by then it becomes an observational study. We have another type of study that we call it as experimental study. Here, investigator controls the variables to see its influence on the outcomes. It can be the simplest form in vitro study or a lab-based study where you are directly experimenting on some tissues, on some probably extracted tooths or on a collected saliva or a cultured microorganism, and you are trying to see the results of that. That's an in vitro study. That's an example for an experimental study. The next stage in experimental study would be an animal research, where you take some animals, either rodents or it may be other primates, and try to introduce something there and try to see the results of that. Quite striking examples are Brenmark's study on implants, dental implants, which were done in animals first, beagle dogs and things like that. Then we come to the next stage in a research. We call it as a clinical trial. In a clinical trial, we conduct the experiment on humans. Obviously, before conducting an experiment on humans, we would have conducted enough experiments on animals and also approximately know about the safety of that particular chemical. But still, we need to check it first. So we check safety first in initial stages of clinical trial, and then we check the effectiveness. There are again associated terms, efficacy, effectiveness. Let us not get into that right now, but there is a branch of experimental science, experimental research, where clinical trial is conducted on humans. Okay, so observational, you are just observing. There are various types there. The first one is the case report, where you find a unique case and then write a report as a case report and publish it in a journal. Second one is case series. Human immunodeficiency virus or AIDS. The initial cases of AIDS were actually reported as a case series. Then comes the cross-sectional research, where at one point of time you study a group of people and come out with the results. So cross-sectional. Longitudinal is one step ahead. Here you are following up a group of people for over a period of time to see what are the changes happening over a period of time. So that's longitudinal research. Then comes correlational. In this research, we try to measure two factors in each individual and then collect it for an entire group of people and then try to see whether one factor is related to other factor. For example, whether studying long hours by making notes increases the marks in the exams. So this is a correlational study. So this obviously cannot be done for a single student. You'll have to take the marks of hundreds of students and also you'll have to take the study habits of hundreds of students and try to relate study habits to the marks scored, and then you come out with a correlational study. Within correlational, we have another subtype called as association. Let us not get into that, but we will move to next study designs, case control design. Here there are cases which are people who have the disease, controls, people who don't have the disease, and then we compare these two groups to see what are the special characteristics in cases that make them get the disease and what are the factors missing in controls that make them healthier. So that's a case control study. The next one is a cohort study. In this case, we actually do not start with cases and controls. That means we do not start with diseased people. Instead, we start with exposures. Exposure means any suspected risk factor. So we start with an exposure and see how the effect of that exposure is there on the group of people. A simple example is, there is a group of people, some are smokers, some are non-smokers. You follow them up over a period of, let us say, 10 years to find out what is the effect of smoking on periodontal problem. That becomes a cohort study. So these are in brief various types of observational studies. There is another type of observational study which we call it as exploratory study or qualitative research, about which we will talk about it maybe in one of the classes ahead. So, if there is a disease or there is a case and you want to know what is causing this disease. So first what you do a descriptive research and try to catch hold of all the factors that might be or might not be involved in that particular case. So whatever you suspect as factors and whatever you don't suspect also, like demographic variables, age, gender, social class, habits, geography. So you just document all of that and at the end you describe it. So that is descriptive research. But in experimental research, what we do is we actively control something, intervene on something, introduce something and see the influence of that introduction on the disease. That introduction is usually a chemical or a therapy or a drug or a procedure. Sometimes we control that particular factor, sometimes we eliminate that particular factor. That also we could do in an experimental research. So you can pause the video. These are some of the well-known examples for observational and experimental research. If you may think so, you can just do a little more of search, trying to find out about each of these studies and try to understand for yourself what they are. And a little more about them we will explore in our lectures. So pause the video, tell me whether this is observational or experimental. Okay, pause the video again and tell me which amongst these are observational, which amongst these are experimental. We can discuss it when we meet face to face in the class. Okay, next way of classifying research. This classification is called as primary research and secondary research. This is classified based on what role the investigator is taking in collecting the information. If the investigator is collecting the information first hand, directly by himself or by his group of data collectors, then that is primary research. So this is happening in real time. What is secondary research? Secondary research is somebody else has already published the data. Let us say government website has all the details, or let us say a hospital record has all the details. Investigator simply accesses those records and then comes out with the research. That kind of research is called as secondary research. So the main dissertation that you will do will be an example for a primary research. The library dissertation that you will do will be an example for a secondary research. I have here an example for a secondary research. This is taken from a meta-analysis. You can see in the blue rectangle over there, what you can see is results of multiple studies put over there. So you can see this is a research comparing mineral trioxide aggregate compared to formacresol as to which one is better in pulp canal obliteration. Don't worry about too much about this diagram, but basically you see where the dot is. In this first study, Ansari 2010, which you can see over here, the study was favoring formacresol, whereas in this study, this research was favoring MTA. But each of these individual studies, we can call them as a primary research. But this study is secondary research which is reporting this. This study is combining the results of all of them and then finally telling that it is the formacresol which is better for pulp canal obliteration. So this is an example. This graph is taken from a secondary research which is combining multiple other primary researches. Such study is called as meta-analysis. So in the next lecture, we will see more about various other types of research. Thank you.